Okay, so now we've got our images inside the library and we're looking at a couple of different pictures. Notice that first image is the one that's selected on the top left, and as soon as you have one image selected you can see that it shows up inside the navigator, and this is great for the students to work their way around the image. They can choose different options to fit or to fill. They can choose 1 to 1 or 3 to 1 or a bunch of other options to move in and zoom around the picture. And when they click on one of these, you'll see this little box show up over here, and they can move it around and take a look at where they like to maybe work on a particular part of the picture. So if they click over here, let's just back up a little bit, you'll see that this is where the image is focusing. And if I come over here, I'm focusing on this part of the particular picture itself. And you can also just click in another space and it goes there too. So the navigator is kind of fun to move around and give you a chance to see what's happening. And we'll get to more of the navigator and when we take a look at the develop. So if you take a look on the left hand side now, we've just imported 11 images. Now the total number of images inside this catalog is 11 because we just started it and there's 11. If I went and got more images, well, this number would change to whichever number of images I imported, and this number would add those numbers. So let's say I brought in 5 more pictures. This previous import would say 5 because I just brought in 5, but all photographs would say 16. So it's a really cool way for the students to be able to keep track of their photographs, but also the most recent imports are where they're going to find the pictures they just brought in. Underneath that, you get the folders structure, and it's going to tell me that, yeah, you took those pictures from the Macintosh hard drive, okay. And then underneath that, you've got some collections. Well, we don't have any collections just yet. There are some smart collections that come preloaded with Lightroom, and that means that they have some presets. So if a certain number of pictures met, like we chose 5 stars, it would show up here. You could choose all your 5 stars very quickly. Recently modified, these pictures here are the ones that we just brought in. I don't have any video files, and I don't have anything without keywords. Yes, I have no images without keywords. So let's just say that we like to take a look at the images. I'm going to touch the letter G on the keyboard to get to the grid, and you can get to those down here. This little bit is the grid, and if you put your cursor over for a second, it'll tell you. Just touching the letter G will give you the grid. This is the enlarge or the loop view. Here's your before and after kind of compare view, and then this is the survey view. And these are kind of fun to have the students look at an image before or after they worked on it. You can also spray things onto your pictures like keywords or whatever, and you can organize things and sort them by particular choices here. Okay, so all kinds of different ways to sort the images. Let's leave all that alone for now. Let me just take a look at the grid, and let's say I liked a couple of these pictures. Well, here's something I would do with the students, and you can certainly do it with yours as well. As soon as they bring a picture in, what I like to have them do is kind of go through them and see what they look like. So to do that, I would have them touch the space bar, and that blows the picture up full screen. And then to eliminate the rest of the stuff, the little columns on the left and the right, on the keyboard, if they touch Shift and Tab, it eliminates everything. And here we're looking at the full picture. If they really like this picture and they say this is a keeper, they could just touch the number 5 on the keyboard and it'll set the rating to 5. Or they can touch the P on the keyboard, the letter P, and that flags this as a pick. So I tend to tell my students, listen, you love it or you don't love it. You know, what are you holding on to 2-star pictures for? So it's 5 stars or it's a pick, and that's the way it goes. To move to the next picture, hit the right arrow on the keyboard and you'll move to the next one. Well, I can't see the whole thing here, so what I need to do is I need to back up a little bit. Wait a minute. What do I have this set at? I'm going to touch the G to get back to the grid. I'm going to touch Shift Tab to see this. What is my setting? I need to come up to the top here and see Fit. That's what I want. Because when I choose Fit now, I'll do Shift Tab again. And then I'm going to get rid of the excess, the gray here, by touching L and then L again. Now I just have the image and I'm just looking at the one particular picture. If the student really loves it, again, hit 5 or hit P for pick. If they don't totally love it, move to the next one by hitting the right arrow. So I have them go through this kind of quickly. They'll pick it, or they'll hit 5 stars, or they'll do both. And they move to the next one and say they like 5 stars here. And keep going until they kind of like all the different ones that they think are going to work. And one more. And let's say we like that one with a pick and 5 stars. Okay, so that's all of them. And I hit the right arrow one more time, but it didn't go anywhere, so that means I'm done. So I'll hit Shift Tab to back myself out, and L one time to turn the lights back on. And here we are. Now if I touch G on the keyboard, I'll get to the grid. And notice underneath, on the bottom, we've got 5 stars, a white pick flag, and then some of them have a pick flag and 5 stars. Now, here's a really cool thing that they can do. They can create a collection of the pictures, and we're going to talk about collections. To make a collection, I'm going to do Command A to select them all. And I'm going to come over to the left-hand side over here. And next to collections, not a smart collection. Oh, by the way, the smart collections. Notice the 5 stars is now 5 because we just labeled 5 of these with 5 stars. So if I ever wanted to quickly find my 5 stars, I could go just click on that and I would see them. Let's do that. There they are. There's the 5 stars. To get back to where we were, just come up to the previous import, click on that, and we're back to where we were. And that's the great thing about the previous import. But I want to make a collection here, so I'm going to do Command A or Control A on a PC, and I'm just going to hit the plus sign next to collections and say Create Collection. And when it comes up, it says, what do you want to do? I would like to create a collection. I'm going to call this Salisbury Beach. Now it asks me what would I like to do. Do I want to include the selected photos, make new virtual copies, set it as a target collection? Would I even like to include it inside a collection set? For right now, I'll say no. Just leave it as the one collection by itself and hit Create. So now I've got this new collection called Salisbury Beach, and we can see it down here. Collections are super powerful. It's what you're going to use to make your slideshows, and you can print out of it and everything else. So definitely work with collections and do it a lot. And you can have multiple collections and have the same image in multiple collections. You can just rename them whatever you like. It's kind of a nice feature. So let's say I wanted to, I just clicked off of that to deselect them. Let's say I wanted to make sure that as soon as a picture hit a particular set of criteria, it went into a collection. Well, that's called a smart collection. And Photoshop, Lightroom here, Photoshop's Lightroom comes up with these guys already pre-built in, colored red, 5 stars, that kind of thing. I want to make a new one that I'd like to call Keepers. So I want to make a smart collection. So I hit the plus sign, and I'm going to say create a smart collection. Now here you set the criteria. What do you want this to do? And this is going to be great for the students as they're working on their images. When it hits a certain set of criteria, it goes immediately right into this. So this might be the stuff that they do for their final portfolio. They're working and working and working on images. It gets to a certain point, boom, it goes right in there. So I'm just going to call this one Keepers. Okay, and I don't need to put it into a collection set, but I could. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to match all of the following criteria. So the rating is greater than or equal to 5 stars, or I could have just said the rating is 5 stars. And then at the end of this, we're going to hit the little plus sign to give us another row here. And not the rating this time, but the pick flag is flagged. Excellent. And if I say OK to this now, I'm going to have a set called Keepers. And what's going to happen? Watch this. Hit Create. Over here in my new smart collections, and you know it's a smart collection because of the little gear, in the Keepers, there are 3. See it? 3 of them had the pick flag and the 5 stars. So this is a really cool way for the students to start to organize their work. They can add keywords and they could give it 5 stars. They can pick it. They can really start to refine what's going to happen with their final portfolio.